Welcome to this week's edition of CEO Corner. I'm Otis Rawl, President and CEO of the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce, and today I'm happy to have John Hassell with me, the Interim Director of the South Carolina Ports Authority. John was appointed last week to run the Ports Authority until a successor for Bernie Groscoast can be found. So, John, thank you for being with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Otis. Thank you.
We just want to talk a little bit about kind of what's going on down at the port. Can you kind of tell me what's going on as far as what you hope to accomplish in the next 6-8 months, or as long as you're in the position, and where you see the port going?
Sure. We're focusing on three things: our mission, our people, and our partners right now. Given the economic environment we're in, it seems like a concentration on our legislative mission is pretty important. We are an enterprise economic development agency of the state of South Carolina, and it's reflected in the wording of the legislation, which says that our mission is to provide marine terminal capacity to the business community in South Carolina and to promote trade through those facilities. So from an enterprise side, we focus on providing those facilities, and when the authority was created back in 1942, the legislature gave it the wherewithal to pay its own way, knowing that port policy was an expensive thing from a capital standpoint. So we work very hard, of course, to make a profit and act in a business-like way on that enterprise side. Right now, I think the best support we can provide to the state's economy is to focus now on the trade development side. So we're doing that. We're becoming, in that vein, a much more market share-driven organization than margin-driven organization. And I think the response that we've gotten from the team there has been very positive. Our objective to fill our terminals with cargo right now is to do that by being as aggressive as we can be, being more creative perhaps than we've ever been, and by being flexible in our rate structure. We've got to accomplish this by doing several things. One is we need a successful early closure to the Maersk deal, and we're working to get that. We need to pay attention to the needs of our existing customers. We want to keep them during these tough times, and we want to do what we can to help them be more successful. And then as far as new business concerns, I don't want to lose it because of rate.
Well, I think that's a lot of interest to our members. And I think the other thing, too, is position ourselves for the future. A lot of things are happening internationally and globally, and we know that we are one of the two ports on the East Coast that have deep water access for these major carriers that are going to be coming to the East Coast through the Suez Canal and also through the Panama Canal once it's open. So kind of talk about where you want us to be in 2014 when all these types of transactions start to occur, John.
Well, we want to have the facilities in place, and as it stands now, our new terminal at the former naval base is on track to be ready in the year 2014 to accommodate, from a capacity standpoint, the needs of all that new cargo and the new vessel calls that we see coming to the East Coast of the United States through the Panama Canal. From a a geographic standpoint, we're in a good situation with our location on the East Coast, with our natural, now deep harbor, and then as far as physical limitations, we've removed them with our new Cooper River Bridge. So from a height standpoint and a width standpoint, we don't have a limitation on shipping that is certainly one of the things that ocean carriers will be considering as they move along. Well,
I know as part of the board and where we're moving as board, y'all gonna be looking at a new strategy, where we need to and how we need to compete. Can you talk a little bit about where you see our strategy being, particularly in light of what Savannah and some of those folks are doing, at least from a state perspective, positioning themselves from a distribution facility standpoint? What does South Carolina really need to do to position itself, in addition to opening up those berths and just hunkering down and looking at our rates and all? What else does the state and the business community need to do to set us up to be the place to be?
We've got short-term and long-term, more strategic considerations, of course, and my focus over the next 3 to 6 months is going to be more on the short term, and that moves us into the second of the three things we're working on, which is our people. And we've got a good team down there. I'm learning that going through departmental briefings right now, in addition to reassuring customers and talking with the media and elected officials to let them know what we're about. But we do have a good team, and our mission needs to be right now to give them the support they need to be able to carry out the mission, whether it's customer service training, or assuring that we have the appropriate people on staff to do the marketing that we need to do and so forth. So all of those reviews are taking place, but I think both short-term and long-term, if we concentrate and invest in the people we have there, we'll be prepared for whatever comes along. Moving along, the third thing we're working on is our partners. And a port has partners that reach far out into the hinterlands, a long way from the port, and that includes the transportation community and the manufacturing community, among many others, people who are shipping goods through our ports in South Carolina or bringing in raw materials. The people who are taking it to and from the port. And then as you move in closer, you run into businesses that a lot of people don't think about when they think about a port. The harbor pilots and tug and towing operators and line handling companies and customized brokers and freight forwarders and vessel agents and warehousemen and distribution center operators, stevedores, the longshore labor that loads and unloads the ships. All of those types of organizations are our partners. And there are, of course, other agencies at the state and federal level that likewise we have to bring in. But we have to do a better job of working closely with all of those partners, and we have. And I think to the extent we do, that we'll be ready and prepared for whatever comes our way.
I reckon one of the things that the users of the port that our members are talking about is some type of blue ribbon panel to look at, those customer issues that are going on in the port, how we resolve those issues and all. What kind of support do you think that the Ports Authority, if the General Assembly decided to say, hey, we want a blue ribbon committee, 90 days, get in there, get the work done, bring back those recommendations on what we believe are customer type issues that you're facing internationally that could possibly put in place. Is that a possibility, or is it even a possibility without legislation to create some type of panel?
Well, Otis, the Ports Authority was created as a result of a blue ribbon committee that consisted of business and government leaders from all over the state. At that time, there was no staff of the authority or board of the authority to offer any kinds of support or suggestions. So the concept works. This time, a committee of that type would have this support and the advice to the extent they need it from an operating entity that's been here for some 67 years. And I think that you'll find that the authority is receptive to something like that. There's a lot of talk these days about the Ports Authority's model.
Right.
And it's a model that's been in place for a long time. Maybe it's time for it to change, but it's certainly been a model that's strong enough that it warrants a test. And if it passes a test, it should continue. If it doesn't, given today's circumstances, we're flexible enough as an organization of the state and as a state business community to adapt to whatever needs to happen.
Well, John, thank you. We appreciate you being with us today and giving us a little bit of insight on what's going on. And we wish you good luck in your endeavors. I know it's going to be a good job, but a fun job and a time-consuming job. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Otis. I look forward to working with you and members of the Chamber as we move along.
Well, thank you very much. Hope to see you next week on CEO Corner.